Let's queer up politics. History as Tennessee's first transgender politician elected in Nashville.
People elected me because of who I am, but because of my skill, not because that I'm trans. And so I have tried very hard to run this race on my ability to sit at the table and my ability to get work done. The fact that I'm trans is just a part of who I really am and not why I ran.
A transgender woman was won election to a seat on Nashville's City Council, becoming the first openly transgender person to be voted into political office in Tennessee. Olivia Hill secured one of the 4 open at-large seats on the Metro Council of Nashville, a politically liberal city in an overwhelmingly conservative state. According to the LGBTQ+Victory Fund, an advocacy group, the triumph made her the first transgender woman to be elected in Tennessee. As per the Nashville Post, Hill was making history prior to her win, as she was the first openly trans woman to have her name on the state's ballot. Hill is a public speaker and advocate for women and LGBTQ rights. She has served on the board of directors for the Tennessee Pride Chamber, and Hill has said, and I quote, "My expertise is fixing things, and while my focus is on repairing Nashville's outdated infrastructure, I also want to ensure that our city is represented with true diversity in a state where the ruling party thinks I should head to the closet," unquote. Annise Parker, the president and CEO of the LGBTQ+ Victory Fund, applauded Hill's victory. Parker noted that Hill's historic election comes as Tennessee's state legislature passes laws discriminating against transgender communities. Tennessee's numerous anti-LGBTQ+ laws include bans on drag shows and gender-affirming care for minors. It is somewhat not surprising that this is happening, that the pushback continues, but then again, you're reminded that it's 2023, and so many of these struggles, women's rights, black rights, voting rights, what is democracy, should have been settled, if not decades ago, a century or so ago. And it's reminiscent of how when we don't learn from history, history continues to happen to us. And this story demonstrates to us that we still bend towards justice, but every time we bend, they put bricks on our back to break us down, and they will not succeed.
Well, brava, Olivia Hill. I certainly hope that Marsha Blackburn's head might explode, kind of splatter everywhere. But, for those of us who live in our precious blue bubble here in South Florida, we can certainly relate to Nashville's struggles, and we're grateful that the politically liberal city of Nashville is doing what it can.
And still holding on. Brava, Olivia Hill.
You know, it's funny because when you think of Tennessee, generally in our community, I think we think pretty negatively of the state, and they've given us a lot. Well, that's what I was going to say. Nashville seems to break that mold. Memphis is a much bigger city, but not in the same way. It's much more conservative than Nashville is. Of course, a lot of people say it's because of country music, and while there's been lots of conversation about the embracement of LGBT in country music, all of the people that are producing it as show business is very affirming in LGBT, and that's part of the reason of the contribution. Then the hospitality industry, et cetera, and so on goes along with it. The other thing, of course, I say the same. Congratulations to Nashville and their decision and this commissioner. One of the things that I sadly thought when I heard the news of this election and the history of this happening in Nashville is I wonder if this could happen in Fort Lauderdale. And sadly, I don't think it could.
I actually disagree.
Really? You do?
Yeah, I actually think that maybe not for Fort Lauderdale, but at least one of the suburbs here. We're talking like a bunch of townships, Pembroke Pines, Plantation, Coral Springs, would actually follow suit. I think we do have enough progression here in Broward County. I mean, we're the only holding on blue county in Florida, but I actually would put that to a
I will stock hope in that and go.
But I think it's also important, just one last comment, to recognize that sometimes places that are blue are not first. You know, New York State does not have a trans member of the state legislature, for example. So sometimes where you think it doesn't move as fast as places that are sometimes stuck in the middle of something that's more unpleasant.
That's interesting.
Makes sense.
Keep watching the only television news in the world from our LGBTQ+ community and stay informed on everything that is important for and about our diverse LGBTQ+ community.